Hello, Priestess Mamas. This is Dania Foster, Priestess of Motherhood and clinical naturopath and energetics therapist. Today's session of the Priestess of Motherhood is asking, is your motherhood depletion leading to your burnout? So, motherhood is this sacred initiation when we're born into our motherhood as we birth our children. And our world, it just doesn't honor this period within our motherhood. I know when I had my first baby that I did not have any clue what I was in for. I did everything the doctors told me, and it did nothing but lead to the detriment of my birth situation and therefore the connection that I had with my newborn baby. And my mental health afterwards was shit. So, there's just too many women that are left running on empty. They're left falling through the gaps and feeling like they're failures because of the system that's left with motherhood. So it's no surprise to me that motherhood depletion is running rampant and, of course, leading to burnout. So by the time we've got 4-year-old kids or our kids aren't moving into school age or anything like that, maybe you've been like by the time I had my second, I was a lot more aware of what I wanted from my motherhood. So I was doing the extended breastfeeding and co-sleeping. So therefore, like by the time you get to 4-year-old, like my last baby, I breastfed him till he was 4.5. So think about like how many minerals and all of my essential nutrients that has been taking or draining from us if we're not replenishing and taking care of ourselves. So if we've been running on fumes through our early years of mothering, by the time our kids are getting a bit older, we are very depleted. And we need to take care of ourselves. So all of these things, our pregnancies, our breastfeeding journeys, our disturbed sleep and co-sleeping, parenting through the night, 24/7 parenting, these are all really beautiful parts of mothering. And these are aspects that I love that breastfeeding connection, that breastfeeding relationship. I love the co-sleeping. I love how much things had changed for me from my first when I did everything that I was told to do and it completely ruined me. And then being able to take my power back and say, actually, I'm going to trust my instincts and just bring my baby into my bed with me. I'm going to feed for as long as I possibly can. I am going to take her out of daycare and quit my corporate job and raise my family with this slow nurturing motherhood. Taking back my power like that really healed my burnout, really helped me to nourish myself properly. And then my third pregnancy was so much easier than my others, and my birth was the most empowering experience of my life. And my postpartum was just beautiful and slow and nourishing. And it wasn't that completely shell shocked crash that I experienced in the beginning. So, this episode is going to uncover all of the missing nutrients behind our burnout, how to spot the warning signs that you may be really depleted, and the naturopathic steps that are going to nourish you back into your vitality, what you can do at home, and how I can support you if you want to step into this container with me. So, what happens in our body through pregnancy? Our nutrients are obviously diverted to our baby first through our placenta. And if our stores aren't peak before falling pregnant, so if we don't have enough iron, for example, before falling pregnant, if we don't have enough of our mineral stores, even like calcium and in our stores, we're going to give all of what we have to our growing baby. So that, of course, will leave the mother, us, depleted if our stores aren't replenished throughout our pregnancy, especially if you are really sick throughout your pregnancy, if you are really struggling to keep food down, if you are really feeling quite unwell throughout your pregnancy and not nourishing, then it's going to be really hard to keep those levels up, especially if they're already low. Okay, and then post pregnancy, breastfeeding, increased demand for those essential vitamins and minerals. And then you're moving into parenting 24/7. So your sleep is, of course, disturbed. You might be co-sleeping, so you're disrupted. This can therefore disrupt your cortisol regulation. It's going to impact your gut health. It's going to impact your metabolism, your insulin resistance, all of that sort of stuff. It makes you a lot more sensitive to those changes if we're not keeping on top of our replenishment and our nourishment throughout those early years of our motherhood. So it's really, really important to me that when we're going to be still co-sleeping, we're going to still be mothering through the night. We're not going to just ignore our mothering duties just because we need to keep us replenished, but we need to make sure that we're nourishing ourselves throughout the day. We need to make sure that we are getting what we need. And if that's not coming through in our food, then getting the right supplements for us, because we can't meet everything for food, especially if you're not keeping things down throughout pregnancy, that type of thing. If you're constantly giving without replenishing, you're going to be burning out on that biochemical level. It's just the way that it's going to go. So it's we don't want to go down that path of that biochemical depletion. If we can replace what's lost, our bodies are going to thrive, and we are going to be able to keep up with everything, and we're going to feel really good in our bodies, and therefore we're going to be able to parent with a lot more presence and connection. And that's our ultimate goal, right? To be really intuitive and connected to our bodies and to our families. So we need to keep our replenishment up. So, what are the key nutrients that are going to deplete in motherhood? So, where are you running out? Let's first talk about that iron and B12 balance. So, iron and B12 is all about our oxygen transport and our energy levels. If you're feeling really fatigued, we're going to look into what your iron and B12 are doing. So, is your heme levels of your blood, your red blood cells, in a healthy, optimized state to be able to carry that iron? Is your gut in a space that is going to be able to absorb that iron, because inflammation blocks iron absorption. B12 is converted to its active form in the gut. If your gut's not optimized, then we're going to be struggling with these nutrients as well. So, signs that your iron and B12 are depleted would be things like fatigue, obviously, dizziness, feeling really heavy, especially in your legs. Shortness of breath is also a big sign of low iron. To help build up your iron stores through your motherhood, what you can do is organs like eating grass-fed liver, red meat on a regular basis, making really nourishing, slow-cooked stews, beef, dark leafy greens, and using iron infused herbal tonics. One of my favorite herbs for iron is nettle. So you could be making nettle tea, nettle infusions, and drinking that as well. The other thing to look into is your magnesium and your electrolyte balance. So these are the undercurrent to support things like your nervous system regulation and your adrenal support. So these are things that are huge underlying factors in burnout. So keeping your magnesium up, best form for that in this case would be magnesium glycinate, which is a really calming magnesium. Really nice to take that before bed to help you feel really calm and relaxed and drop off into sleep with ease, for that quality sleep, to get the most out of what you can get. Because if we are feeling depleted in our magnesium or our electrolyte stores, then we're going to be having restless sleep. You may be noticing muscle cramps, increased anxiety and overwhelm, all of those nervous system symptoms coming out to play. And of course, that stress response being high, fight, flight, freeze. So keeping all of that on board there. So yeah, looking at magnesium glycinate as a beautiful supplement to support you here. Bone broths got so many amino acids, and I would recommend doing the short cooked meat stocks rather than bone broth, because they've got a higher level of the usable amino acids in them, which are not only going to be really healing for the gut, but they're going to be giving you a lot of the amino acids that build the neurotransmitters for brain support. And the short cooked meat stocks, where you'd cook them in a broth, like making up a stock and putting the meat and the bones in the stock and cooking that for, say, 2 to 4 hours rather than the long 12 to 24, 48-hour bone broths, is that they've got a lot less histamine, or they don't have the high histamine that bone broths can have. So if you have a high histamine presentation, then bone broth is not for you. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're on the short cooked meat stocks for this and getting the most amino acids out of that. Coconut water, beautiful way to feed the adrenals with lots of electrolytes. Adding some sea salt to that is going to be one of the most nourishing natural electrolytes to keep you going. So doing all of these things, looking up adrenal cocktails. So putting that with some vitamin C, whether that's from like fresh squeezed orange juice, some lime or lemon squeezed into your coconut water and salts. Natural Celtic sea salt's one of my favorites for that. But making sure that we're giving your body some natural electrolytes as well is a really easy way that you can help your body nourish your electrolyte balance, which your body is burning through if you are in a stress state as well. Okay, the next one that I want to consider is zinc and your omega-3s. So these are both working on your hormone balance, your immune function. So some signs that this is depleted for you would be poor wound healing, hair loss is a big one, lowered immunity, so you're just getting sick all the time. That brain fog where you can't seem to think clearly. You are walking into the room and not knowing why you went in there. You might be missing appointments or forgetting things and leaving things to the last minute, all of that type of thing. That brain fog, low executive function can come through with this as well. So replenishing this is making sure you're getting enough omega-3s in your diet. So I highly recommend some wild caught salmon at least 3 times a week. Having pumpkin seeds and flax seeds and beautiful chia seeds and things like that. Hemp seeds is another one I love, popping them in smoothies or popping them on top of your fruit. And having that on a regular basis for your omegas and zinc. Oysters are another great one to have for really high in zinc. The next one to consider is going to be your B vitamins. Your B vitamins are all about your stress resilience and your nervous system support. So when we are in a stress state, we are burning through our B vitamins, and through pregnancy, you are going to be going through a lot of B vitamins as well, breastfeeding, all of those extra demands. It's going to be taking all of these things from you. So keeping up with your B vitamins, making sure that you are eating a varied diet, things like eggs, oats, really good to keep this up. Your meat sources as well. If you are low in your B vitamins, you may be noticing like low moods, emotional dysregulation, poor focus, back to that executive function and concentration levels, brain fog. And you may be getting some sugar cravings as well based on these types of things. So there's things like nutritional yeast can be really good, but making sure you're getting meat, eggs, oats as well. And adrenal adaptogens are really good in this space too for your nervous system support and stress resilience. So that's things like your withania, like ashwagandha, really supportive for new mothers. Rhodiola is another one of my favorite adaptogenic herbs, and nervous system tonics like your Rehmannia and your licorice and things like that. So looking at where you're at and what your needs are depend on which herbals, but you can do some beautiful teas like Tulsi teas, really good for the nervous system as well. And looking into things like down the track, we'd be looking at things like your cortisol and thyroid support. How is your sleep quality? We know that in motherhood, it can be quite out of our control. But when you're actually getting to sleep, like do you fall asleep easily, or are you laying there awake while your baby's sleeping and your kids are all asleep but you can't fall asleep? Is your metabolic function a bit over the all over the shop? Like you can't lose weight no matter what you're doing. You might be holding weight. Food cravings, energy crashes, all of those things that come with that cortisol thyroid picture. That's waking up exhausted, your weight changes, like you're gaining weight quite quickly if we've got some cortisol, thyroid imbalances, insulin resistance, sugar and caffeine dependencies. I know I was there. I've said this a few times, but in my early days, I was just having the 5 coffees a day, not eating till the end of the day. And I was having like a comfort food, pasta bake, cheesy pasta bake, which was very high carbs and not healing for me at all. But that's what I did to get through, and it just sent me into this weight spiral. And then you have to flick those biochemical switches to teach your body how to burn fats and work off protein instead. So we can go into all of that. But what do you need to replenish these systems? Do you need more selenium? A beautiful source of selenium is Brazil nuts. Getting some of those into your regular pattern of eating. Iodine-rich foods, if that is something that your body needs. So things like dulse flakes, which is a type of seaweed, things like that are beautiful to add into your cooking. Use it as a salad sprinkle. Those different things. So, is your motherhood depletion leading to burnout? So, it's become that norm that motherhood is exhausting. And we need to remember that our exhaustion is a red flag and it doesn't have to be the norm just because a lot of modern day society says that we should just expect it. And it's like, well, that's because you're a mom. Maybe you should stop breastfeeding. Maybe you should stop sleeping with your kids. Maybe you should stop. Well, I've had the doctor saying, oh, maybe you should stop homeschooling. Maybe you should stop breastfeeding. Maybe you should stop sleeping with them. And I was like, that's not the advice that I need right now. What the advice is that I need is how to replenish and how to nourish. And they didn't have those answers, but now I do. And this is where I got to this point, is doing all my own research and my own self-healing has brought me to this part where I can come back and help you with it as well. So if you're waking up tired, even after getting a full night's sleep, if you are having a mid-afternoon energy crash and needing that 3 o'clock sugar hit or afternoon coffee to get through the evening routine, if you're feeling really easily overwhelmed or emotional, quick to crying, really irritable and snappy, if your hair is thinning, if your hair keeps falling out, if your nails are really brittle and broken, if your skin's really dry or cracked, these are all signs that are red flags that we can pay attention to. Your libido, your sex drive. If your sex drive is non-existent, you have no interest in sex, and you're feeling really disconnected from your body, if you're hating your size or your weight or anything like that, if you've run down, you're catching every cold that comes comes your way and taking forever to recover, you just constantly feel like you keep getting sick. These are all signs that your body is depleted and screaming for replenishment. But we can rebuild this. We can rebuild this all for you. So, how do we nourish yourself back? So, you get to feel like the priestess of your motherhood. You get to reclaim what strengthens you, what makes you feel like your favorite version of yourself. You be your most you that you can be. Whether that's cringy, I don't care. Being your most you self makes you feel vibrant, energetic attachment, magnetism, all of this comes through. And that's what helps you to thrive in your motherhood, and it helps you to thrive in connection with your kids as well, because you get to be you. And you deserve to feel vibrant and you deserve to feel nourished and whole. So we can really replenish your reserves. So first off is getting your mineral stores up. So talking about those adrenal cocktails, coconut water, sea salt, some vitamin C added in it, natural food based. Eating mineral rich whole foods like that meat stocks that I was talking about, eating slow cooked stews. Beautiful. You can have them for breakfast. I hate those, the cereal and toast breakfast. And not saying that never happens in my house because it does, but I want your regular to be really nourishing, really protein and good fats based. So, high in greens, having some seafood like that wild caught salmon I was talking about, making sure that we prioritize rest for your nervous system recovery. So I remember in my early days, and as a homeschool mum, we have a lot of outings to go to throughout the week, but I really had to create a boundary for myself that first off, it was that I had to be home by 2 o'clock because I needed to have an easy, relaxing afternoon so that I could move into my evening routine of making dinner and getting everybody bathed in bed in a decent time without stress. So I made a little self guideline that I needed to be home from my outings by 2 p.m. to have a really cruisy afternoon. And if that meant I needed to lay on my bed and breastfeed and read for a little while after getting home from where we go, bush club or whatever we were off to at that time, that was just my guideline that I really needed to be home at that time. And I made a bit of a guideline that if we'd had a big day out, the next day was going to be a home day. And we could just be really content with creating, painting, or drawing, or just playing games and just being really slow at home. So creating priorities around downtime was really important for me. And then building in beautiful rhythms and rituals into my everyday practices. So now that my kids are a lot older, I don't need to be home at 2 o'clock for an afternoon nap anymore. And we can get home, 4:30, 5 o'clock, and it doesn't impact my stress as much. I can move into making a nourishing dinner without that impact because my kids are a bit older and I've got a bit more energy. I'm not being woken up as often through the night, still being woken up and co-sleeping with sometimes with my 6-year-old, but I digress. But yeah, priorities around rest and nervous system recovery, weaving in little 5-10 minute rituals in your day for vagus nerve work. Vagus nerve rituals are my lifeline. I love weaving little moments into my day that help me to come back into my body and reset. Doing gentle movement. If you're in a space of high cortisol, then you do not want to be doing any cortisol spiking workouts. So I know that if you are feeling uncomfortable in your body and you're wanting to shift stubborn weight, then it's often recommended to do some like HIIT training to get into it. But if you're in a high cortisol state, if you're burnt out and depleted, that's not going to serve you. Body's going to go into survival mode even harder. So, what we want to do is some really gentle movements, and that doesn't have to be just like yoga and stretching and walking, all those are really good. But what I really love doing as well is lifting weights, heavy and slow, and that builds your muscle, and that helps you with so many things with your metabolic health and your hormone health and everything. It's just going to be supporting you overall with your energy to build that lean muscle mass. So I recommend that lifting heavy and slow under some guidance if you need to be able to support that cortisol regulation. The next thing you can do is really nourish yourself with those whole foods, incorporating really nutrient dense meals 3 times a day, making sure you're getting protein, fats, and fiber. So your protein could look like lean meats, eggs, could look like lentils and beans. It can look like chickpeas. It can be things like cottage cheese if you can handle things like dairy. You've got eggs, lots of egg recipes are really a big staple here. Fats, good quality fats are things like avocado, having the like salmon, like those good omega-3 fats, hemp seeds, hemp oil, these types of fats in your diet, using butter to cook your foods and stuff like that, and ghee, those sort of whole foods, and fiber, leaning really heavily into your leafy greens, your cruciferous veggies, beautiful healing for hormone health as well. So making sure you're getting your fiber 3 times a day. My goal for gut health is looking at 40 different types of plant fiber across the week. Can we do that as a challenge and get lots of different fiber into your body? And using adaptogens and nervines once again to support your hormones and your stress resilience, building resilience. Um, Yeah, and you can do this by creating little rituals of replenishment throughout your day. Every time, because I told you, like, in my early days, I would not eat until dinner time. And throughout the day, every time I was feeling a bit overwhelmed or anxious or stressed, and when I was first mothering, is that I would go to the kettle and turn it on and make an instant coffee. And that was probably one of the worst things that I could have done for myself. So I did a little ritual where I recognized that that was a problem. The next step was that I made a little post-it and stuck it on my kettle so that it reminded me. And I didn't need the post-it for very long, but it just was like a little anchor point to stop and reflect. And it changed from turning on the kettle and making an instant coffee to turning on the kettle and making a herbal tea that was going to be one of those nervine tonics, the herbal nervines that are going to be really soothing. So doing that instead, like lemon balm, really nice, tulsi, really nice. Doing these types of herbs and making a herbal tea in that moment to just calm, passion flower, beautiful herbs like this. So making little rituals, taking time in the morning before the kids wake up is still one of my staple things, and um, something I need to keep coming back to because it's hard to get up in the mornings. But getting up before everybody else and taking a sacred start, journaling, and taking a movement, meditation, breath work, these different things, listening to music that makes you feel like you is really important to me. And just whatever music is your favorite, where something you can sing along to. Singing activates your vagus nerve. So singing along, moving your hips, moving your body, allowing that fluidity to flow through you helps you to open up to that. Doing some skincare, even if it's just washing your face, just taking care of your body, just connecting with yourself in small moments throughout the day. And just stop trying to hold it all together. You don't have to do everything on your own. We were never meant to live in solitude like this in our motherhood. We're supposed to be surrounded by support and community. So please reach out for support. Um, Reach out to me if you'd like to seek some support in breaking this cycle of depletion, because when your children watch you uh, begin to nourish and thrive, they see that as permission to do it themselves in their own journey, whether they recognize it or not. They'll take it on subconsciously, and they'll know that when they were kids, they watched you nourish, replenish, slow, and heal. So let me know if you would like some more information about any of these steps. You cannot pour from an empty cup, as we know. So if you're feeling depleted, burnt out, disconnected, I invite you to step into some deep replenishment. And I have built a container especially for this, which takes into consideration the physiological with that HTMA, hair tissue mineral analysis, to check on your mineral levels. It includes the cobiome microbiome analysis for gut health and all of the functional markers for inflammation and everything that can go wrong in your gut. And it's 6 months of dedicated care to help build you up with beautiful rituals, nourishing food, healing around balancing the adrenal thyroid axis, your metabolic health, and energetics behind it all, behind your generational stories, behind all of the things, the mother wound. And that's what happens when your own relationship with your mother and your relationship with your children repeats in these cycles. So breaking the cycles and building your own connection stories. Do it all in the I do it all in the Priestess of Motherhood mentorship for you in a one-to-one relationship. So if you're interested in that, then send me an email or send me a DM on Instagram at Dania Foster Naturopathy. Uh, come and comment on any of my posts on my Instagram, have a conversation with me there, or jump on my website, daniafoster.com, and you can book an initial consult through there as well. But any questions, let me know. I'm here for you. I'm excited to be on this path with you, and I am so, so, so grateful to have you here listening to me. And thank you for being here. Lots of love to you. Take care.